I told him it was going to be called The Common Pursuit. He liked that. He's a great admirer of Levis, though of course he has his reservations. But he said it would establish what our critical standards were. That we were serious, in other words. So, he's already on our side, you see. Marigold, have you been introduced to Humphry Taylor, whose poems I told you about? Marigold Watson.
Hello.
And, of course, you've already met, I'm terribly sorry.
Martin Musgrove.
Who's offered to take over the advertising business, etc.
All the really boring stuff, in fact, is my level.
Right, let's get started.
As a matter of fact, I've just come to pick up my poems.
What? But why?
Because I don't like them anymore.
Well, they're very good. In fact, they're remarkable. Every time I read them, I find something new in them. You must let the magazine have them.
I'm sorry, I don't want to see them published.
Look, can I talk to you about this properly? Just the two of us. You mustn't make a decision now, please.
There is going to be a theatre column, isn't there?
I'm not sure, but I have an idea it wouldn't be appropriate.
Well, if we don't have a theatre page, can we at least have a sex page? Marigold and I can edit together, can't we, Marigold? And we can publish pictures of Captain Marvel having it off with ghastly Erica. Now, if I choose to introduce them...
I thought this was going to be serious.
You know what this means, don't you? Without the grant, I'll have to cancel the next issue, too. That's making it 3 in a row, and then back to the usual round of begging, borrowing, and stealing. And then I'll have to return Hubert's poems. He won't let me hold on to them indefinitely. So, my special place in literary history is likely to be as the editor of a small literary magazine who, through a combination of craft, bribery, and moral blackmail, actually got his hands on 6 major new poems by a major poet, and then had to send them back because, as it turned out, he didn't actually have a magazine to publish them in. Have I got matters into perspective?
Well, not quite. Actually, you don't need the grant. That's what I was going to discuss with you just before Erica phoned. I want to offer you a partnership, Stuart.
A partnership?
I'm going to set up as an independent publisher. I've always had the capital, now I've got the experience. We'd be partners, you see. You'd commission and edit the poetry and the fiction. I'd do the business side and the editorial hack work. I've learned an enormous amount from Haylife and Fordings. I really have. I'm ready. And the point is, we'd keep the Common Pursuit going as our subsidiary.
Subsidiary?
We wouldn't have to depend on the Arts Council. And I know how much you like that. You've always said they only give it out so they have something to take away when it really matters. What?
Does Roland Papworth know what you're up to with his wife, Jane?
Of course he doesn't. I wouldn't hurt old Roland for the world. He and I have become extremely close. He gave me an enormous amount of help with great religious leaders. For one thing, he's particularly strong with Buddha. But look, can't you really get out of your dinner?
You don't mean he wrote it?
What?
This Roland Papworth, the theologian, did he write it? Your book, I need to know because of the copyright.
Of course he didn't write it. He merely filled in a bit of the background, the history, ideas, that sort of thing. And the Buddha bits. But I did most of the last draft. Of course, he's probably expecting his name on the title page. That was one of the things I wanted to discuss with you later. And he'll want a share of the royalties, but look...
There aren't any royalties. You get paid a fee, half of which you've already received.
Yes, well, don't worry. I'll think up some way of sharing something with him.
Apart from his wife, you mean?
Oh,
You shouldn't do that.
I say, she can really turn it on, old Marigold. A bit overwritten, if you ask me. I suppose that's the problem with having an affair with a literary editor, keeping her prose up to snuff.
I said don't do that.
Yes, well, I must say, I've never seen anyone read anyone's private letters before, you know.
Well, of course you haven't. This is a notable breakthrough, doing it in public, so to speak.
That's 2 warnings. You don't get a third.
Actually, it's from the dean, inviting him to pay last term's wine bill.
No, it's not.
Well, how do you know?
Well, it's handwritten and pages long.
Well, you know the dean, anything to make a conquest or settle an account.
Are you going to put it down?
Are you going to make me?
If I have to.
It's time I introduce myself. I'm Nick Finchley, special agent. I've adopted this flamboyant personality as a disguise. I'm trying to find ways of persuading Stuart to publish my poems of passion, written in my late adolescence, but he says I'm still too close to them to be able to revise them properly. So I'll do theatre criticism, as I intend to be the Sunday Times theatre critic when I grow up.
What I can't work out is why.
Why what?
Why you're lying, Nicholas? Your motive? Or are you just keeping in practice?
You don't think by any chance that he's, well, sold Snakes and Ladders? To somebody else, I mean.
To Vogue, of course.
What?
Nicholas has sold it to Vogue. Well done, Martin.
Yes, well, actually, what happened was that I sent a copy to my agent.
The ashes of your copy, you mean? You burnt them, remember, along with the rest of your life's work.
Yes, well, and she showed it to Vogue without my consent, naturally, and it turned out that they were thinking of doing a piece along those same lines, so they snapped it up.
And that's why you want my copy back, is it? Nothing to do with Angela Thark at all?
Yes, well, my agent says she doesn't like the idea of it being offered to two different magazines at the same time. She says it's unethical, and I agree with her. Perhaps. But bloody hell, I'm a professional literary journalist. I live by what I sell. And you didn't bother to acknowledge receiving it, let alone let me know what you thought about it.